Why is it so hard to pull the trigger on early retirement? My man, we'll call him Wally, sent this to me. Remember Wally from Beeve? The Beeve? Nothing better than the Beeve, dude. Wally and the Beeve. Oh, just classic Americana. I love the Beeve. Jerry Mathers is the Beeve. I don't know who Wally is. Remember Wally Backman is the only other Wally I know. Wally Backman for the Mets. Remember him back in the day? I don't know whatever happened to old Wally Backman. He's a pretty good player. I think he's a second baseman. I hated the Mets, but I don't think he was on the World Series team that beat the Red Sox. I don't think he was. I think he came. Actually, maybe he was. Nah, either we'll call this guy Wally. So Wally emails me this, and I said, dude, this is a great. You should post this on your blog. He goes, I don't really have a blog, but you can. I said, man, I'd freaking love to, because this is a great post, man. I said, look, you need to start blogging because you're doing all the stuff perfectly the way the search engines look at it, and the search engine optimization and whatnot. So I hope he does. We'll see. Anyway, so this is what he writes. Why is it so hard to pull the trigger on early retirement? And look, obviously his name isn't Wally. It's Rick. We call him Rick. We could call him Dennis. What else could we call him? So we got Jesse for Jesse Roscoe. We could call him Ray Knight. Ray Knight? Right, Roy Hobbs, Ray Knight. We call him Daryl Strawberry from the 86 Nets. Dwight Gooden. Freaking Hernandez was first baseman. Gary, you got the catcher. He used to play. Oh man, goodness, Gary something. Gary Carter used to catch for the Expos. Freaking Red Sox. The Bruins. The Bruins are up 3-1, 3-2 with a minute left. Now freaking Red Sox. Anyway, so fear of the unknown. So again, we're going back. Sorry. Can't stay on point. I can't stay on point when I'm thinking about freaking Boston sports, dude. Yeah, I've had a great 20 years. The Bruins only got one cup in 20 years. We got spanked by the freaking Blackhawks in 27 seconds in Game 6. And if we would have won that game going back to Chicago, we were going to bring back the cup to Boston. All right, why is it so hard to pull the trigger on early retirement, says Wally. Wally Rick. Fear of the unknown? Fear that your money will run out? Fear of losing a paycheck? Fear of not having health care? Fear of what others might think or say? Fear of losing your career identity? Fear of not knowing what to do? I visited each of these fears one by one. Fear of the unknown. See, this is good writing. Look how he did that. He separated that. It's easy to see. I hope this guy freaking keeps it up, man. We live in a world of unknowns. Unknowns each and every day, yet we wake up and embrace each and every day with fresh optimism. If early retirement does, in fact, raise the fear of the unknown, why do we not embrace the retirement fear with the same fresh optimism that we approach each unknown day? Dude, 100%. You're fearful, but you're fearful waking up. You're fearful going down the street. You're fearful going to the Atlanta airport to drop your wife and kids off to Australia. You still do it. You're like, we can get this done. If we didn't think you'd get it done, you wouldn't do it. So why do you fear of the unknown? Because you're like, so maybe your fear of running out of money. As long as the government stays solvent, I will always have Social Security. Dude, I cannot stress this enough. I cannot tell you how many people, it boggles my mind, think that the government's not going to give us our Social Security. It's insanity, man. All right, okay, you be it as it may, man. I'm not going to convince you otherwise. That's fine. And fear that my money will run out is ultimately the fear of the unknown, which is a baseless fear. And if the shite, onions and shite, if the shite does hit the fan for me financially, I can always bag groceries at the local grocery store or work at a garden store, anything but the traditional crappy old job. But then you're not retired. That's if the shite does happen to hit the fan for me financially. That's exactly right. He doesn't want to do that, but he says, look, I'm willing to do it. I'm willing and able and ready. Fear of losing the paycheck. Fear of losing the petty state check is what I call it. If this is even a legitimate fear, the fear is not having faith in the plan that I've been grinding away at for all these years. I've saved, I'm debt-free, I plan to live a modest lifestyle, I'm relatively healthy, so I'm not losing a paycheck. I will still have a paycheck that I was planned for, but more importantly, instead of thinking that as a fear of losing a paycheck, thinking think of it as gaining my freedom from the crappy old job. Exactly. Instead of saying, I'm going to lose my paycheck. So you're still going to have money coming in. You're going to have to, from your savings, from Social Security, if you're lucky enough to have a pension, all that. Or you might have a part-time job, but you're still going to have money coming in. So you're not losing a paycheck. You're losing the source that you're used to, though. That's the issue. You're losing the source of that paycheck, which is your crappy old job. And the fear is there, so it could be a petty stay check. No more petty stay checks. Fear of not having health care, another baseless fear. With my retirement income being less than $60,000, I should be able to get health care via the Obamacare with enough subsidies to make my health care extremely affordable, if not free, until at least Medicare is available. And again, people say, they're not going to pay my Social Security. I say, well, how are you going to get your health care there, guy? Where's health care come? It's coming from Medicare. Literally, it's the most insane thing I've ever heard. They're going to take my Social Security, but I can't wait to go on Medicare. Take away my Social Security, but I can't wait to go on Medicare. It's like, it's insanity, man. Insanity. Fear what others might say. Is this even a fear? Ultimately, who cares what others think? Anyone voicing objections to or tries to throw shade at my early retirement plan is either financially uneducated, jealous, or they're projecting their own fear of retiring early onto me. And their thinking is, if they can't or not willing to retire early, why should I be able to? 100% Wally, freaking beef. We're going to call him beef. 100% beef. Jerry Mathers. Fear, now this is a big one. Fear of losing your career identity. Anyone whose identity is so wrapped up in their careers has more to worry about than retiring early. I work, put 100% each and every day. I do a good job, get good reviews, do what's required of me. That is the extent of my obligation to the crappy old job. All right, Pablo wants to... Actually, I think this is even bigger than what people think. Especially if you're like a manager or you have responsibility, you think you have responsibility. I think people think, man, what might company do without me? And then they find out very easily that your company's going to be just fine without you. How do you know? Because once you retire, they're not going to care. They don't care. They'll say, see you. You're like, well, I was leaving. Yeah, see you. Because the people that are left, all they care about is themselves. I can't blame them. They're like, yeah, man, I'm still here. No, it sucks to lose you, Jill, but someone's got to still do this, and I don't like my job, so I'm kind of jealous at you. So I'm not gonna be hostile to you, but I don't want to hear it because I still got a job to do, and you're leaving. I just think a lot of people think they have this sense. I never get. I had this guy, freaking mid-level manager. Oh boy, why are you barking now, Finnegan, at USA? And he literally thought he was all that in a bag of chips. And his whole job, his whole life, you could tell, revolves around him being a mid-level manager at USA. You know what I'm saying? And I'll never forget. I liked him initially, and then later on, I don't want to get too deep into it, but I just said, you did us wrong, dude. You did us wrong because when the shite hit the fan, you took cover to protect number one, which was you. You did not take cover to protect your employees underneath you. Because you knew that if you were held accountable, you'd be on the street and no one's going to hire you because you're nothing but a mid-level manager who doesn't have any skill set. You just happen to be the right place at the right time at USA. That's saying more power to you, man. I did too. But that was it. And so you can go around and say, I'm a manager at USA in the financial planning department, feeling all good. But once that stops, what's your calling? You don't have any. And that's sad. You should have a calling outside your crappy old job. Because your crappy old job, they don't care about you, dude. They don't. I'm sorry. If you need any other experience other than COVID to prove that to you, I don't know what to tell you, man. You saw it all with COVID. They don't care about you. Take the you know what, or else you're fired. But I thought you cared. I thought you said employees are number one, the priority. Yeah, not when it came to that. Fear of not knowing what to do. Come here, baby. In life, we should all have an interest like we do and engage. In life, we should all have an interest that we like to engage in separate from our crappy little job. I personally like to read. I write poetry. I write children's books. I have an idea for a work of fiction. I'm an avid photographer. I like to birdwatch. I love to hike, exercise regularly, as well as want to travel extensively. Freaking Beav here is crushing. And you can tell he's a good writer. I tell you, this is good stuff. I hope he does get a book of fiction out there. This is good writing. So there should be no fear of not knowing what to do. The fear should be not having enough time to do all that. I'm telling you, dudes. If you got a freaking bookshelf like I have, you're like, dude, when am I going to find the time to read all this? So I just started reading about my next book I'm reading now is the Worship of Augustus Caesar which is much different than I had anticipated it was going to be. I haven't read that. I only read like the first couple of pages. I thought it was interesting. And that just takes you down a stand. So I still haven't finished reading, Question Einstein. I got tons of Einstein books. I still haven't, just so many books to read. And I still want to read, go back to reading Nassim Nicholas Taleb's, is back there, Skin in the Game. I don't think I've even read, I read The Black Swan. I read the other one he had. I don't think I even read. It's got so much to read. There's not enough time of the day. Crazy. So literally it's an opportunity cost. If I read The Worship of Augustus Caesar, I'm not going to be able to read this right now, which means I might never get to read it because I might not be around after I read this, if that makes sense. My story. My original goal was to retire late spring 2024 at the ripe old age of 58. But my COJ is starting to, so he was going to retire next year, a year from now. But my crap little job is starting to affect my health with a stress due to increased workloads with no one in sight. I can't tell you how many people I've talked to. I talked to an IRS person the other day. She was telling me that basically the workload has increased, yet the number of people to do that workload has decreased. And it's not just the government agencies, it's all over the place, man. You know it, I know it, we all know it. Oh, they're going to hire 3 people from India to replace me. It was that's what USA was doing. They're hiring people from India and Mexico and stuff, and other companies. All these companies doing. Poland, but these people, they might be cheaper, but they're certainly not more productive, certainly not more efficient. And actually, it's a burden, not a profit center for these people, because it takes 3 people to do the job of 1 before, but those 3 people are still more prone to make mistakes. I'm recently divorced. My ex-spouse is still in our house, which I still own half of. I'm in an apartment currently. The plan is to sell the house next year when my daughter graduates high school. When the house sells, my portion should be around $175,000, and we share custody. I mean, look, this is not unique to this guy. What we call him, beef. I'm recently divorced. My ex-spouse is still in our house, which I own. He's in an apartment. The plan is to sell the house next year when the daughter graduates high school. You think old beef here is the only person going through this? When the house sells, I should get about $175,000. My base expenses while I'm working is about $5,000 a month. The plan when I retire is to nomad travel, and then based on extensive research, cost of living in the areas I'm looking at is about $3,000. When I travel, I don't plan to have a home base. When I get through traveling, I'll find a place to settle down, either renting or buying something modest. I feel if adequate retirement monies in a 401k, Roth, traditional rollover. Yeah, look at this. He's got almost $1 million schmackaroonies to last me through my retirement. The only real obligation I have is to put my daughter through college starting fall of 2024. He's already got $60,000 saved for it. Hey. And then why are we putting her through college? They're beef. I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's like, look, I got kids. I get it. I'm just saying, at the end of the day, is it worth it? And I don't think the answer is yes anymore. Anyway, I plan to take Social Security at 62 to the tune of $2,300 a month. So let's say this guy's living off $5,000 a month. Excuse me. He's got 175 sitting in cash. He's got 20. He's got so he's going to take 175 sitting in cash to sell the house. So we'll say he's going to be 57. So he's 5 years before he hits Social Security. All right. So he needs 60,000 a year. 60 times 5. He needs $300,000. He's got 175 sitting in cash right now. For simplicity, we'll say he gets enough interest to make another $25,000. So the time, and he'll have 60,000 for the next. So basically, within 3 years, that cash will be gone. All right, because he'll use all his money. So now he needs $120,000 from a portfolio that's worth basically almost $1 million schmackaroonies. All right, he'll need 60,000 a year for 2 years from a portfolio that's worth about $1 million schmackaroonies. All right, so that's a 6% distribution amount, but it's only for 2 years because once Social Security kicks, and that's at him living off $5,000 a month. He said, I think I get $3,000 a month. When Social Security kicks in, he's only going to need $25,000 a year roughly from his portfolio because Social Security provide the other half, give or take. $25,000 from a $800,000 portfolio at that point. 25 divided by 800. That's a 3.1% distribution amount. So what you scared of? You're scared of the unknown. That's what it all comes back to. All comes back to. Given this information, I feel enough to retire now, so why the delay? I'm revisiting these fears daily to hopefully gain the courage to finally pull the trigger sooner rather than later, as later is not guaranteed. Dude, 100%, man. And by the way, if you're on I'm going to put this link on my show notes on to click on it. I can actually get some advertising on here. So not much, but every little bit helps your old buddy Josh. So Art of the Brick. What the hell is that? An immersive experience like no other available to visit in Atlanta. What the hell is that? Book now. Let's take a look at Art of the Brick. So you'll see the boost number 4 scene. Okay, whatever. I don't know. Doesn't look. Yeah. Anyway, so the point being is, you click on the link in the show notes. The article is down here, and you can read it yourself. Anyway, hope you find this informative. Love to hear your thoughts. We'll see you.